I think the biggest story was the fact that he cheated, and the fact that they've been expunged is kind of like,
yeah,
I don't know, maybe not as crazy, but all of his records got expunged. Like everything he's ever done has been expunged.
Yeah. His children have been exterminated. his permanent record has been burned.
No longer exists.
His facial hair shaved.
Everybody, and welcome to episode 24 of Rather Be Playing, the podcast where we talk about how we'd rather be playing games than doing our goddamn taxes. I'm Josh.
I'm Elliot.
And I'm Stevo.
And yeah, I'm really glad those are over with. I hate them with a passion.
Didn't you just TurboTax that shit?
No, we have way too much crap that we can't just do it on TurboTax. I mean, we probably could, but I don't understand half the shit I got to put in there. And honestly, you know, even though I have like a math degree, taxes just confuse the living shit out of me, and they just make me rage. And so I let Lily handle all of that. she's good with like numbers that involve policy. I was just like, you go have fun. She even took like an H&R Block class.
Wow.
I mean, it really only gets her to the point where she could do like the standard forms, the 1040s and things like that. But she at least knows a hell of a lot more about it than I do.
So that makes me wonder, what incentive does H&R Block have to teach people to do it themselves? It's because
they hire you afterwards if you want.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
that's nice.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if they have like positions open for everybody, but I know like when we went. So the person that actually did our taxes in the end we went to H&R Block, and we met someone there that was working there that my wife went to class with, so she obviously went that route.
Huh. So if I go to H&R Block and someone's preparing my taxes, it could be someone who was just like trained and then put in there. It's not going to be necessarily
brought in off the street, basically. Elliot, say what you're thinking.
I mean, they might be like your first. They might be like your first line person, but I mean, even when we were talking to the guy we were talking to, we had other tax guys coming in to talk to him and ask him questions. So it's not like they're in a bubble.
Okay, well, I just do it myself. Amy does most of it because she's an economist. But she also...
I know exactly what she would respond to you saying that. I'm an economist, not an accountant. Yeah. She would be so offended by you saying, she's an...
What I was getting at, Amy... Actually, also, I'm safe. Amy hasn't listened to this podcast in like 3 months.
Oh, damn. Harsh. And did she ever get you your PSN dollars or whatever it was?
She is really losing the race for Wife of the Year.
I think Lily shot out ahead for doing the taxes.
She really did. Yeah.
Oh, God, yes. Yeah. It cancels out her buying that third cat.
I forgot you got a new cat. You put up a picture of him.
Yeah, it's like
is it a him or a her?
It's a he. His name's Arius. It's more like a comfort. Like Arius.
Arius.
I mean, that's just the name he came with from the place. But yeah, it's more like to keep my niece company, I guess, when she's having issues. So
it's a cute cat.
That's cool.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he's a good cat. So no issues here. So we're still introducing him to the other two. They're not really enjoying it just yet.
No, encroaching on their territory.
Yeah, what the hell's this guy doing in my place?
Does he get batted about the head with cat ninja arms?
Well, he hasn't met my cat yet. He's met Lily's cat, and she's just hissed at him. So we'll see.
Wow, off to a good start.
Yeah, it's a good start.
Speaking of good starts, anyone got a good segue?
Speaking of segues, does anyone have a?
Elliot just started playing a game that was free on Steam. How about that?
Yeah, I could go. Can I just say also, does it feel like to you guys like it's been a really long time since our last episode? I feel like it feels like we skipped one to me. I feel like I haven't talked to you guys in a really long time, but we're still on schedule.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because like we're so close to, because this is going up like 2 days from when we're recording, and I don't know. I feel like.
Didn't we record early the last time as well because you were traveling over a weekend? I think that was a big difference.
You're right.
Oh, maybe that's why I had like a little extra week in there then.
All right, none of this makes sense. I just
stop time traveling during the podcast.
Stop traveling on the podcast. How many times have we said?
I'm just saying I feel renewed. I feel like this is a new rather be playing.
You're a new man, a new Elliot who plays games
and tap dances.
I don't really play games much, but I did play one, so I'm getting better at it.
Tell us about it.
I played so recently. Crusader Kings II came free to download on Steam. So, given our No New Games 2018 is mostly a money spending resolution, we're free to get it. So I got it and I played it. I'd never played it before, but I've heard a lot of good things. I've like other gaming podcasts made it sound super entertaining. I had no idea what I was getting into.
I've heard it's really easy, and beginners
you just jump right in.
Right in. Yeah,
no big deal. When I first booted it up, I was so overwhelmed, I almost just shut it off, and I was like, "This is not what I thought. This isn't what I wanted."
So take us through it. Like all that I've ever seen from screenshots and stuff is an over map from a way high up view of like what is it like the 1300s or something like that.
You can start, the earliest is 1066, like the Norman invasion era. And then you can do like early Middle Age. I don't know. I think it's like Mongol invasion era. And then like Middle Ages.
Oh, cool.
So it's like 1000s, 1300s, and 15, maybe something like that. Mm-hmm. And there's expansion packs. You can go further back. You can do like 700s and 900s or something.
And what do you actually do in the game?
So it's if you ever played Civilization,
poorly.
Yeah, so it's like you're building an empire from like you're the lord of a county, like the world's all split up into counties, and you kind of have to like wheel and deal your way into ruling the world. Mm-hmm. But it's not balanced. It's taken after real events in history, real periods in history, and real like political setups to start. So it's not like they went out of the way to make sure you had a fair shot, like a fair dice roll kind of thing. Like it's not balanced at all.
So if you start as Johnny the farmer county lord in between like the Gauls and the Germanic tribes, you're probably screwed.
Exactly. It's so like Civilization, you could start as like Washington or Gandhi or that's all the world leaders I know.
Thank you, Gary Johnson.
And you have a fair shot of succeeding. But with this, like you can be like, like when you first start off, you can do kind of a beginner mode, which makes it a little easier. And you're just like this guy in charge of this county. But when you do the real game, you can choose like William the Conqueror or I think there's 5 other choices. So I went through like the basic or like ease you into it kind of thing. Like you can't really die, I guess. And
how fast did you die?
What's that?
How long did it take you to die?
So I don't think I quite died, but I didn't do well. And it was like you start off and you have a map and they tell you who you are. I think my name was Leopold something, and I was in charge of a county in like north central Spain.
Yep.
And you have siblings, you have parents, you have like fellow bannermen. Like the counties around you tend to be like you're in charge of like kind of a cluster of counties, and so all these people are in support of you, and you have to keep track of a lot of different stats. You have to keep the relationships going. You have to keep making sure people think of you positively. You have to create alliances. You can wage war. You can plot to kill the leader of a neighboring county or group of counties. And that's like the interpersonal political stuff. But you also have to manage your land. You have to like bring up the economy. You have to bring up agriculture and different kinds of development and education and religion. And it's like Civilization, but so much more fine-tuned, so much more detailed. You can manage micro level aspects and attributes of your entire tiny little plot of land.
Yep.
And immediately I can tell, like, if you're going to play this, you have to decide at the beginning if you're going to play it. Like, if you're going to dive into it, if you're going to, like, it's going to take a massive commitment to learn the game inside and out. And I think it could be super rewarding, but it's a project. It's like setting out to write a book. Like, you're going to learn how to play the game, or you're not.
Yep.
Like, if you don't, there's no half-assing it.
So you felt like after the tutorial you understood generally how to play the game, or were you?
I think I got a better idea about it. So, like, I started off as this guy, this Leopold guy in Spain, and everything happens in real time. Like, you see the
Wait,
day.
you were playing it for like 40 years?
No. So
how did it happen in real time?
Yeah, I did 4 hours of this one guy's life. And we just kind of just went outside for a few minutes and came back in. It like, it's constantly ticking away. Like, there's no turns like Civilization is what I mean. It's always moving.
Oh, jeez. I had enough trouble with turns.
And I'm just fucking around. So the first thing I want to do is go to war with someone. So, like, okay, your options are very limited because you're not that powerful. Sure. Like, you don't have an army that you can just send across the border. You're just a guy, and you have some people that are loyal to you, but you can plot to kill the leaders of other lands.
Oh, okay.
I'm just kind of clicking around the map, and I see Barcelona there. I was like, I've heard of Barcelona. So that's
a place. I think that's a place. I've heard of it.
Even the place I'm in charge of, I've never heard of. Like, it's all like unfamiliar places that don't exist anymore. So, okay. So here's one. Like, I know Barcelona. And so I click on it, and I can, like, offer to trade. I can give them a gift. I can try to create an alliance. A bunch of options are grayed out depending on my current attributes. But the most exciting one is plot to kill.
Yep.
So I plot to kill the leader of Barcelona, and the game just ticks away. So it's like, that's what's going to happen when it gets a chance to happen. So then I'm like, all right, what else do I do? Like, it didn't give me the immediate payoff I was hoping for. So I just tried to plot to kill a bunch of other people. I'm like, yeah, like the people like right next to me. Tried to plot to kill, I think it was like Salamanca. And eventually I plotted to kill the wrong guy who immediately waged war with me, and he actually had an army. So he starts sending people over. And my options are so limited, I pretty much have to
surrender,
sue for peace. Yeah. Well, there's 3 different ways to sue for peace. You can demand your demands. You can do like just a white flag, no, we'll just stop fighting kind of thing, or you surrender.
Yep.
And so I chose surrender, and then I went into hiding. And while I was in hiding, I plotted to kill a few more. Because there's not much else you can do.
Couldn't you try and make an alliance or two, dude? Didn't you
so
learn your lesson?
After that, after I came out of hiding, things seemed okay. All the people that I had plotted to kill, I pretty much just, everything was okay.
They forgot you existed.
And at this point, I was like, let's let bygones be bygones.
Sorry about that, guys.
I'm new at this. And I totally forgot about Barcelona. So no, actually, I learned later that what happened was you can only plot to kill one person at a time. So as soon as you plot to kill someone else, the last plot is canceled.
Oh, okay.
So Barcelona is fine now. So then I'm like, you can make alliances, and the best way to make alliances that I had was to marry people in my family, or like my bannermen, like the nearing nations, to other people. And if you have a man that's eligible, you have to marry a woman to someone else's woman. And but there's certain rules even in there that micromanage it. So you have you can't marry a a higher level, like a countess to just a regular man.
Right.
But you can marry a count to just a regular woman. So there's all this stuff. Anyway, it turns out that the only woman I have to marry out is my mom. and age is a factor. I actually didn't. I tried a few people and they kept like declining it.
Well, was your mom okay with it for a start?
So that's what turned out to be the problem. I thought she would be, because she's, she's fine. And like each character that you can kind of manage underneath you has an opinion of you. And my mom's opinion of me was negative 57. I don't know what I did to do that.
Not even a mother could love him.
And so like very quickly, this isn't going well. You get sucked into it. You're like, okay, there's so many counties, and you can even try to like marry someone in Sweden or Germany, like way out there. But that's not going to give you much use because people are attacking me right now. And they're not, there's a time constraint here. And while I'm doing all this, at one point, one of my guys, my bannerman, just like kind of revolted against me, like one of the nearby counties.
Yep.
And I was looking at the options like, okay, what can I do about this? And I can imprison him. And I had like a 57% chance to do it. And I did it. I imprisoned him. And so they were like, they stopped. I'm like, okay, finally, like I took a step forward. Like I got somewhere. That was the first like actual action I was able to do.
the XCOM of Civ games.
Yeah.
So now that you've got things under control, you decided to plot to assassinate someone.
No.
His mother.
I should have. She really would have had it coming. I start clicking on like my bannermen around me. So I'm like, maybe I can start an alliance near me. And it scared me off that one of my guys is the one that kind of turned on me. So like, let's make sure everyone else is okay. And in one of the options, in the options list for one of them, you can say like cancel, like request to end plot. And I'm like, what plot is that? And so I clicked on request to end plot, and it was like, this person is plotting to kill you. It's like, who is this? And it was my sister. My sister had this piece of land next to me, and she was plotting to kill me. So I said, please don't do that. And she said, no, I'm going to kill you.
Sorry, bro. What can you do?
I'm just like, and I what the hell did I? And so maybe it's because I was like trying to plot to kill so many people, like turn my family against me.
It's incompetence. They're trying to increase the IQ of the family.
I had two other brothers, and the most they did with them was try to marry them to other women, and they just kept saying no. And their opinions of me were like around neutral. So I don't know. I ended the game basically checking out Barcelona again. I was like, let's see what happens there. And they were like completely under siege. They were being destroyed by like a neighboring force. And I was like, I felt bad about the plotting to kill them. So I was like, let me pledge my loyalty to you and come help fight. And as I mentioned, I'm very new at this. I don't have an army, and I pledged everything to them, and they just like trounced both of us. And that was my first, like, I must have played for like an hour and a half.
So did you, because you play until your character dies and then you play as your heir, isn't that right?
Yeah. So you can't, like, I didn't quite play until I died, because you have to wait for the days stick away for the actual award to go through.
But there's no other like end game state, is there? Could your like entire bloodline be extinguished? Could you?
Yeah. What could happen is they said like you could lose your land and then a pretender could come take over. But then I don't think you play as the pretender. I think that's technically game over. Oh. So yeah, I guess like I had two brothers, so I would have had a ways to go before everything lost. But at that point, it was just like, I kind of want to start over now. Like now I know what I'm doing.
Totally. Yeah.
Get your mother to like you next time.
Next time, don't start things off on the wrong foot.
Follow through with a few assassinations.
They give you like a dice roll, like a percentage chance of whether this is going to work. And even if it says like 47%, I go for it. I'm like that, maybe something exciting will happen. And so I started a new game, and I was like, maybe I'll do it better and I'll pay more attention. And that's when I just got so overwhelmed with like the minutia that you can control.
Yeah.
And I'm split. Like part of me wants to just like dive into it and do like read a book on it and figure out how to do it. 'Cause it could be so entertaining.
Yeah.
It's so rewarding. You can see it there, but the commitment is more than I've ever seen any game ask from me.
Yeah, I feel like
So-
it sounds like you would want to dedicate at least a Saturday afternoon or Sunday afternoon to just playing it for a few hours to learn the ropes. I'm gonna do it at some point too. You've talked me into it for sure, Elliot. And because it was free, I hope everyone picked it up.
Yeah.
I will not.
I feel like it's your kind of game, Josh.
Yeah.
Your
no.
compulsiveness.
No. I no. Civ games like that or those simulation type games, I do not enjoy. There's way too many things to factor in to deal with. The last game I remember playing that I actually kind of enjoyed was Lords of the Realm 2, which I'm pretty sure was a mid-90s game for the PC.
I don't even know that one.
And I think the different thing with that one was because when you attacked a neighbor's castle, you could actually kind of control your troops and where you went with them. But you still had like to keep your peasants fed. You had to, make sure you build up some things. But I mean, yeah, I played a little of Civ 2, 3. It was 3. I can't remember. But like, and just like the first like 20 minutes of me playing it, I'm just going, I have no idea what the hell I'm doing.
Yeah.
It's not my kind of game.
Yeah.
So I wasn't sure if when you said you didn't want to play you didn't like those kinds of games. I thought you were going to say it was because like you start playing them and then you lose a week of your life.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I just don't enjoy them.
Just don't enjoy them.
Yeah.
Wow. I love that's my problem is when I start playing it, I look at the clock and it's 4 a.m.
Totally.
And it feels like 10 minutes.
Like, I mean, I'll be honest. I never like said, I never like sat down and went, okay, I'm going to really try to play a game like this. So maybe if I actually spent the time, like, okay, it's a weekend, I'll spend 3 hours messing around with, I don't know, Civ or Crusader Kings or whatever, then maybe it'll click. But so far it is yet to do that for me.
Wow.
Yeah, for me, it was Football Manager. Like, this is the kind of game that you would just spend hours and hours and hours and get into the micro and the macro, and just every little game was important. Every win, every transfer, every time you sign a player that you were looking to get. And yeah, you just end up losing days to it.
If you're looking for a game that's similar to that, Stevo, I can send you a copy of Microsoft Excel.
Don't diss Football Manager. Football Manager is the greatest.
It's coming to Switch now. Football Manager Touch.
I am beyond it though. I've got to that age where it just doesn't do it for me at all. But Crusader Kings, as you say, Elliot, just the fact that you have all these little small stories and funny things going on, it's just a human experience. I want to give it a go.
I will enjoy listening to your guys' human experiences then.
Said the robot.
Yes. Oh, man.
But that was, I mean, I played just like an hour and a half of that and I got that kind of epic tale about this guy. Like, this person now, he's this asshole who shouldn't be in charge of anything.
His whole family hates him.
Everyone hates
Even
him.
his mom, especially his mom.
I got backed into like when I went into hiding the first time in my mind, like I've been in that place in real life where I'm like,
you ran.
How do I get?
You tried to kill someone and then got caught and then ran off and hid and.
No, like you have an exam to study for it in the morning and you haven't studied at all and you're backed into a corner and you start thinking, how do I get out of this? Can I call in sick? Can I make an excuse? Can I like fall down the stairs and break my arm? Anything to get like you start thinking of everything, and that's kind of what I was like. I'm like, all right, my sister's trying to kill me. Mom won't marry anybody. All my friends hate me, and I'm going to war, and I'm losing. Like I'm being invaded, and I'm losing everything. How can I get out of this? How can I restart or and so going into hiding was my genius solution. But it puts you in that place. Like it's, you know that fight or flight, even though you're just looking at a map and clicking through menus. It was very, very entertaining. I am not sure if I'm going to be able to go into it as much as you need to really get something out of it. But I think I'll give it another shot at some point and see how that story goes.
Gotcha.
Nice.
Well, I'm glad you're enjoying it. Maybe hopefully Stevo will too.
Yeah, I think you would, Stevo.
I'll come back with some stories for you for sure.
Yeah.
Oh man. Well, on my end, I don't really have. I mean, I have a one short funny story. So I finally got my second chicken dinner in PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. This time with a squad, and it wasn't with you two.
Of course, it wasn't with us.
So I was playing with 3 other guys, and we were doing pretty well. I think I ended up with a kill towards the end, but then we're making our way across the map, and we got one guy who's a bit better than we are. I wouldn't call him like a ringer, but I mean she's still pretty good rather. So we're following her along, and all of a sudden one of the party members decides to just fall off a cliff. But it was like it wasn't like a cliff so much as like a really steep rock face. And the way PUBG calculates like your falling damage is by how long you were falling, and I guess sliding counts as falling.
Yeah.
So even though he never left the ground, he still died when he hit the bottom, and then he and then fell into the water. And I didn't realize that, so I was like, "I'll save you!" And I come after him. I'm like, "Oh, I'll just slide down this hill."
Oh, God.
So we drowned. Luckily, there were like 3 guys left in the whole game, or 4 people left in the whole game. So the 2 guys that we had left in our squad managed to finish it off. But I was like,
oh, nice.
I was like, God damn it! At least I got a kill along my way to my watery grave.
I could imagine like being the head of that squad and seeing the first guy fall off and seeing you go after him and just being like, oh my God, idiots. What am I doing here?
She didn't stop me. I told her I was doing it.
Elliot, this sounds to me like the prospect of Philip Coutinho winning a Champions League medal for Liverpool if they go all the way to the final, despite the fact that he was like transferred to Barcelona 3 months ago or 4 months ago. That's what this sounds like to me.
Oh my God, that's exactly what it would be.
Josh, you should be ashamed picking up that chicken dinner.
You should give it back and go back to Barcelona like you wanted.
Well, I did get a chicken. I did get another solo chicken dinner. This time I tried out PUBG Mobile.
Is it any good? Does it run better than the real game?
It actually runs pretty well. Surprisingly.
Is it the same assets? Is it the same style?
Yeah, it's the same game. It's made by Tencent, which is that Chinese company that does all these other battle royale games and all that. But it's an official PUBG game. It's the same maps, same assets in general. I mean, they might be resized due to resolution and stuff like that, but it's the same stuff. Yep. It controls mostly fine. It's kind of awkward a little bit doing like down the sight precision shooting. Mm-hmm. And also, I guess where I normally put my finger because you use your left finger to move the character, and your left thumb to move the camera, and your right thumb to do everything else, basically to look around and also to shoot and things like that.
Yep.
And every now and again, like where I'm swiping to look around, I'll accidentally hit like the trigger button and I'll be like, okay, wait, nobody heard me, right? Okay. So, but the thing is over like the first, I don't know how many games it takes. I think you have to maybe it's 10 games, maybe you have to get to level 10 or something like that. But you basically are mostly playing against bots, which is why it was really easy to get a chicken dinner because they're terrible. So I mean, yeah, I got my first place in the first game. I mean, it eats the hell out of my battery on my phone. So it's like, it took me like 25 minutes to just do the one round. And by the time I did, I was like, oh, low power mode. Great. So,
holy shit.
But it's not bad. And I also downloaded Fortnite on my phone just to see what it's like. I haven't tried it out yet, but I figured, maybe it's one of those things where if I just am lying in bed, can do a quick game or something.
I thought one of them was invite only.
Yeah, Fortnite's still invite only.
Oh, is it still invite only? Okay, maybe that's.
And are they both only? Are they both iPhone only? No Android.
I downloaded Fortnite and I was able to sign in on the app.
I could sign in, but I couldn't get into any games.
You couldn't. If you started join, it wouldn't work.
Yeah, I mean, in fairness, I couldn't get into any PUBG games either. It was just the server wouldn't connect on that. But PUBG it says invite only on the app still. So
okay. Maybe I won't even be able to play it, or maybe I have an invite and I just didn't notice. But okay. Oh well.
Yeah.
But other than that, obviously I've been playing Cuphead, and we'll get to that in a bit. But in my other time, I really just wanted to sit on the couch and play games, and I didn't want to get in front of my computer. I mean, Cuphead's fun and all, but there's just something about a comfy couch, and my Steam Link does not rate. Steam Link's not great for a frantic game like Cuphead. So I booted up my PS3. Like I said, I think it was last episode or the episode before, I went and got a refurbished one. And I was looking through my games on there, and I saw Parasite Eve on there. And I was showing my nephew Parasite Eve, and because it's and I'll explain what it is in a minute. But
wait, is Parasite Eve older than your nephew?
It is, yes.
Wow.
Yeah, by about a year, actually. I think 11 months.
That's amazing.
So I was showing him this game, and after I showed him for a bit, he seemed intrigued, but I was just like, okay, now I want to keep playing it. So I decided to keep playing it. I've beaten it before, but I've never gotten the true ending, which is you have to beat the game and then go through a special dungeon on your New Game Plus mode in order to get the true ending. But so what Parasite Eve is, it's a action RPG by Squaresoft made back in like 1998, and you play the role of this young rookie cop named Aya Bray, who goes to an opera one night and sees the lead singer suddenly cause everybody in the place to spontaneously combust.
Yeah.
Except for Aya. Aya somehow survives for reasons that are known later. So you go and confront this woman who now calls herself Eve. And the entire game is basically tracking down Eve and trying to stop her from basically creating the ultimate being, which is, not a very clever name or anything, but it's,
that's what they call it. Okay.
Yeah. It's, it's, so like I said, made in 1998. So it came out after FF7. The FMVs that the videos that they have, the cutscenes and stuff, rather, are actually pretty good. They're pretty gruesome, at least for the time. I mean, now you look back and you're like, I mean, this is nothing compared to like The Last of Us, that shows full graphic violence, but it's still like, all this like goo and blood and guts when you see like a rat transforming into like this monster thing. But
is it still convincing and freaky in a cartoonish way? Can you still appreciate it at this point, or is it so aged that it just looks silly?
I mean, it still looks pretty good. So actually, Parasite Eve was the first game I ever pre-ordered.
Wow.
Oh.
When I lived in Korea at the time, and I was reading reviews and stuff about this game coming out, and we tended to get games slightly later from the US because I don't know, shipping time and all that. And so I called up the PX, which is the post department store, basically, and said, "Hey, when this comes out, can you hold a copy of this for me?" And they're like, "Yeah, sure." So I was like, "Okay, great." So it's the first game I ever actually pre-ordered, even though that's not technically what it was called at the time.
But did it come with the Xenogears demo, or
no? Did
it not come with a demo? I thought it came with a.
Maybe it did. I honestly don't remember if it did. Hold on.
Anyway, because I feel like it was a game that I got and mostly played the demo that it came with.
Maybe that was it. It came with like a demo for Xenogears,
Brave Fencer,
and Bushido Blade 2, I think.
Yes.
So yeah, but
didn't mean to sidetrack.
No, it's fine. Yeah, I think I might have wanted it for that too. But anyway, so the fun thing about this game though is it takes place all in New York City, so it's a modern day RPG. And the way combat works is you'll get into a random battle and monsters appear on the screen, and then it uses the same like active time battle system as like a lot of the Final Fantasy games does, where you wait for your bar to fill up before you can act.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But in the meantime, when you're not acting, you can run around and dodge all the attacks that the enemies are throwing at you. Oh. So you can theoretically, if you're good enough, just not get hit and you'll be fine. There are some things that are hard to dodge, but yeah. And then once it's your turn, depending on your weapon, you choose to shoot an enemy, and then a little wireframe dome appears around you, and that's like the range of your attacks. Anything within that range, you'll do normal damage. If it's close enough to you, you'll have a better chance to do a critical hit. If it's outside that range, you'll miss or maybe do like, I don't know, half or a third damage or whatever it is. So positioning matters.
Yeah.
But so it's a lot of fun. I thought it was a very, I don't know if ambitious is the right word, but it was just something I hadn't played before like that, and I really enjoy it. There's a ton of different there's pistols, SMGs, shotguns. They all have different attributes, but you can kind of modify them back and forth to what you want. So right now in the gameplay I basically have a pistol that shoots like a shotgun, and I can also take multiple turns at a time because I've modded a whole bunch of stuff back and forth.
That sounds like a really interesting level of depth for a combat system of that generation.
Yeah. Honestly, there's certain things about it that are pretty basic. Like there's there's definitely an ideal way to do stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some things you can do here and there. Like there's a whole element system with like frost and freeze as far as like enemies having weaknesses, but it just doesn't matter. Like there's really not a whole lot of point in putting those on your weapon.
Would you describe it as a difficult game or as an easy game or neither, somewhere in the middle?
It's kind of in the middle. Some of the bosses can be pretty rough, especially some of the final bosses. And some of the bosses in the extra dungeon are actually pretty rough too. But I'd say for the main game, medium difficulty. The last boss might give you some heartache, but other than that, it's not bad. And
plot-wise, does it hold up? Is it a story that's worth going back and visiting? Like, I'm thinking for myself always.
It's an interesting story. It's like, okay, so have you ever heard of the concept of Mitochondria Eve?
No.
Okay, Mitochondria Eve is like the most recent female ancestor from all women on Earth. So basically, all women that are alive, if you trace their lineages back the whole way to a single woman, that person would be called Mitochondrial Eve.
Okay.
And if you learned anything within science class, you learned that mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell.
I actually learned that from Parasite Eve.
Yeah, and so
then in science class.
So this game basically takes the concept of Mitochondrial Eve and makes it so that your the mitochondria inside of your body are basically trying to evolve and take over the human race. And Eve is this person or this thing that is trying to accomplish that. So
she can like manipulate mitochondria, was it?
Yeah. So like,
that's how she can transform rats into monsters and set people on fire.
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
So it's an interesting story. Science goes out the window about halfway through the game, but it's an interesting story. Again, the game, I beat it in like 8 hours, and I feel like that's probably roughly how I did it the first time, because there's not a lot of padding in the game. It's pretty much it takes place over 6 days, and it's just you just keep going.
Yep.
There's no town, but you go back to the police station every now and again to like restock or do weapon mods and things like that. But then you just go on to the next dungeon and keep going. So it's relatively short. You can knock it out in a few days. It's
and you said it's available on Vita as well.
I believe so. Yeah, it's a PS1 classic. So yeah,
Parasite Eve 1 and 2, I think, are both PS1 classics.
Yeah, I also downloaded Parasite Eve 2, and I thought about that one as well later. But Parasite Eve 2 is a lot more like Resident Evil. It's run and gun there's no like separate battle. You just shoot as you go. Whereas like Parasite Eve, it'll pause you. And it doesn't take you to a separate screen. It just kind of loads the battle mode, if you will, around you. So,
is it tank controls?
No.
Okay, I thought, yeah.
I haven't played Parasite Eve 2 might be. Parasite Eve 1 is not.
Okay. I
can't remember if 2 is or not. I beat 2 a long time ago, back when it came out, but I don't remember.
And it's what was I gonna say?
Josh, this is a rare old game that you actually have me interested in going back and just picking it up. I like the idea that it's not that long. I like the sound of that battle system, and I quite like the plot. And you would describe it as a horror game as well, is it?
Kind of. I mean, yeah. I mean, it's a horror game in that vein. It's not really scary, but the theme of it is kind of like shock horror, I guess, if you will.
Like Resident Evil. Well, would you consider Resident Evil more horror than this?
Yeah, like Resident Evil has like jump scares and things like that. This has none of that. This is just more like a atmosphere of dread, if you will.
Well, Resident Evil is survival horror. I would say this is just like sci-fi horror, general.
Yeah, this is just
horror.
RPG. Horror story.
It's got similar themes in that sort of vein, I guess, but I wouldn't say it's a 1-to-1.
Yeah.
And it's originally based on a novel.
Yeah, it was originally based off a novel, and I think there was a movie in Japan about it too. I think they made a movie.
Yeah, that's right. I remember hearing that.
Josh, we gotta have you make up a list of like old school games that I would never have heard of before that I should play. And there will be parameters.
I did. It's called my. I did. It's called my backlog.
Well, it wouldn't be your backlog.
It's true. Sorry.
It was part of Parasite Eve was part of this like pretty much after Final Fantasy VII came out. Square just did pretty much anything they could think of. They went through on the project and release it. And it was like Parasite Eve, Brave Fencer Musashi,
Vagrant Story,
Xenogears, Vagrant Story, Threads of Fate, Einhander, Airguides. It was
Airguides, forgot about that.
This it was like 2 or 3 summers of like Square pretty much made every game.
And they were all at least decent for the book.
They were all at least decent. Yeah. Tobal number 1.
Oh, yeah.
No, that was before Final Fantasy 7 because that had an FF7 demo.
Yeah.
But yeah, and a lot of them are like fun, quick ones like this. Like Parasite Eve, Vagrant Story.
Brave Fencer Musashi was pretty short, I think.
Yeah, I think that was maybe 12.
Something like that.
Hours.
Oh, you also got to find out how many of them are on Steam, because that would mean I could actually pick them up at this point too.
I think they're all PS1 classics.
Yeah.
Mm.
Actually, I don't think Brave Fencer is. Sadly, I've been wanting to try that one again because it's been so long. But I don't think Brave Fencer's on there though.
That's so weird.
Yeah, I know. But Stevo, if you want to, what did you go into this week or these past 2 weeks?
In the past couple of weeks, I've actually finally finished Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice.
Oh, that's right. That's right. You were playing that.
Yeah, the last time we chatted about it, I mentioned it, and somehow I managed to completely misrepresent the disease that Senua, the main character in the story, suffers from. I said dementia, and as soon as I said it, I was kicking myself. It is, of course, psychosis that she suffers from. So she sees hallucinations and suffers from delusions.
Gotcha.
Okay.
The whole way through the game, you're kind of not sure, is this really happening or is this just what she's imagining? And I guess the longer you go in it, the less that matters. What you're really learning about is you're learning about Senua. You're learning about her life experience and what she's gone through. And the further you get through the story, the deeper it gets in terms of like the environments get more beautiful, the enemies get more interesting and varied, and the story just gets so real and human. I just want everyone to go play it. I really want you guys to play it. I would love to do a spoiler cast about it.
I feel like this sounds, I don't want to say similar because they're totally different games, but the theme is kind of similar to Celeste.
Celeste in the way that it's people, battling with their own demons.
Right.
Yeah. But it is so different in terms of tone and, of course, in terms of the game style that it is.
Right.
So Hellblade is a 3D action game from Ninja Theory, who you probably know have done DMC, the Devil May Cry reboot.
Yeah.
They did Enslaved: Odyssey to the West, which was apparently one of the most underrated PS3 games created.
It's a great one.
And they've done a few Disney Infinity games as well.
Did they do the PS3 launch title? Sorry, I can't.
Heavenly Sword?
Heavenly Sword, yeah. Was that them?
Did they do Heavenly Sword?
I don't remember.
I want to say yes.
Wikipedia is our friend. Games developed. They did do Heavenly Sword. Yeah. What was Heavenly Sword?
It was a PS3 launch title, mostly kind of showing off the graphics, and it was very short, but it was kind of like a God of War with this like different character, and it is more like over the shoulder point of view, and yeah, it was. I don't remember it much. Like I rented it and beat it. It was like a 5-hour game.
Yeah.
And it was fun though. It was entertaining and the graphics were stunning.
Yeah. It seems like they do tend to do more linear and shorter stories. And when I say shorter, I mean compared to the open world 40-hour games that everyone is expecting these days. This probably took me about 8 hours to finish. You could call it an action adventure game, but I'd almost call it an action puzzle game because it's so linear. Like you're basically there's closed areas and they're usually gated by either environmental puzzles or combat sections fighting a wave of enemy, and then once you delete them, once you kill them all, you move on to the next area. And at the start, I found that a little repetitive, and
it's kind of like Uncharted, right?
Yeah, I guess you could say that. Except even Uncharted has become semi-open world at this point. Whereas this is like smaller areas and more linear. But you kind of, the further you go in it, as I say, the more variety, the more beautiful it gets, the more colorful, the sadder the story gets, and the more real it is. And it just, so basically, to talk about the story, it's about Senua is a Celtic warrior in, I think, like the 8th century, and she gets to her home on the Orkney Islands, I believe, off Scotland, and finds the whole place burnt to the ground, and her husband has been murdered. And she is suffering from psychosis, and it's hard to tell. I think that this was the trigger for her to have a complete breakdown. And she decides that she has to go to Helheim, which is the Norse, in Norse mythology, it's hell. And she wants to go and basically trade her soul for her husband's so that he may be at peace.
Wow.
So it's like, is that Orpheus? No.
I have no idea. You're going to have to Google that one yourself.
What's the Greek story about the guy who tries to rescue his girl, his woman, I guess it was wife from...
Well, if it's
Hades.
Greek, you're not going to find it in Hellblade.
Yeah, I know. I'm just trying to think of it. Okay, anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry.
But
I gotta look this up, though.
Along the way, Senua is accompanied by these female voices in her head, which are constantly either questioning or kind of congratulating her for things she's doing. There's, especially if you wear headphones, it's just really interesting, the 3D sound and these whispers that are constantly coming at you while you're trying to figure stuff out, that sometimes give you hints or sometimes tell you, slag you off for doing what you're trying to do, tell you, you're an idiot, basically. It's really kind of, it's constantly there, and it's kind of oppressive feeling. And there's also another, a lot of the way through it, she's looking at these symbols and having flashbacks to, it seems, someone who she knew, which was a Norseman, or hang on, was he a Northman, or he was a slave of the Northmen who learned a lot about their mythologies and their ways. And he's got this amazing Irish accent that he does in it. He's actually a guy, you might recognize his face. His name's Nicholas Bolton, and I knew when I saw his face that I'd seen him out of Summer, and it's the most obscure reference, but it's not that obscure. It's in Game of Thrones, but he's in the fighting pits of Marine. I think he's like an announcer in the pits, and you would just recognize the bearded face on him. But he's so good in this role. His, like, some of the stories he tells are kind of like funny, and he's constantly so passionate and really getting into telling her about all these, Norse myths and gods. And it's just, it's a lovely way of telling the story, even if it is kind of strange. You're like, well, is she imagining that he's really there, or is this a memory? It's kind of hard to tell at times, But yeah, as I say, it took a little while to get going, and at first I thought it was a bit slow, and I didn't get some of the environmental puzzles. And in fact, if either of you were starting to play it and you found it hard to get into, I would just tell you, okay, here's how you work out these puzzles, so that you get through them. Because the further you get into it, the richer it becomes, and it's just such a heartbreaking story. Like you learn more about like Senua's husband and her family, and just the hardships that she's gone through and how people have treated her whole life, and you just can't help but empathize with her and understand her. And it's really affecting. It says so much for the developers, like, just that they treat the subject of psychosis and their protagonist with the level of like compassion and understanding. And there's actually along with the game, they have a video talking about the making of it, and it is,
oh wow,
they got loads of experts involved, experts in the fields of psychosis and mental disease, and they spoke to people who had suffered from it. and it really shines through with how like how like what's the word I'm looking for? They really treat her like a rounded person. Like they don't just reduce her to her disease.
They made her human.
Absolutely made her human. And, you know, just that idea that, you know, in her past, people have only thought of her as the lady with this disease. They've never like looked to see beyond that, looked to get to know her. And it's just, it's so good. I want you both to play it, you know?
Yeah. Well, with you gushing about it, and then we were watching the VGAs where I can't remember her name, but
Melina Jurgens. She's amazing in it.
The voice acting sounds really good. So I'm definitely going to get to it. It's on my list.
Yeah.
Shit, man. Like I'm looking to pick up another adventure game, and I'm kind of torn between like Nier and Horizon, but Hellblade is sitting there right next to them on my PS4 UI.
And you should be able to get it for a pretty decent price as well. And that was one of the things
I think we all have it, don't we?
I think we do.
Oh, we do? Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
At the time when they were developing it, Ninja Theory, we heard this phrase that they used, indie AAA. So I guess by that they mean like going for high fidelity graphics and the motion capture and the lip syncing and the sound design and the voice acting is all of such high quality. And I'm about to say but, which isn't a but for me, but it's a linear story. It's under 10 hours. And again, that's not a but for me. I love that. But these days, actual AAA, everyone expects open worlds, 40 hours of content. And I just wish more companies would aim for this. I wish you could make a high quality game shorter, sell it for $30 RRP. And I'll buy this. I would buy more games like this over $60 AAA open world bore fests every day of the week. I totally would. I loved it.
Yeah. And I think that kind of game is what, like, the first couple months here into the new year with no new games 2018, I finished like 8 games of, and they're all that kind of thing where you can just like, you can bite it off and then you can digest it and talk about it. Yeah. And there's no like, I feel like with a 40-hour game, if you really want to talk about it, you got to take notes and you gotta understand it better. But
definitely
stuff like this, I think, man, the way you're talking about it, it sounds like,
and you remember how hard I found it at first. Like I did play a few hours of it and said, "Oh, I like the design, but it's a bit slow." But it really ramps up getting to the end, and it gets so interesting. And I just want you to play it so we can do a spoiler cast about it.
So Stevo, gun to your head, and if you're making the decision for Elliot, Hellblade or Nier?
Oh, well, so.
You don't have to decide.
Okay, I would say Hellblade so that Elliot can actually get through it. I feel like Nier took me so long as well. I put it down for months and then picked it up again and played it. And it does.
I think the fact that Hellblade's only like 8 hours long compared to Nier's like
definitely
30 or so, I would start with Hellblade.
Yeah.
And it's, I mean, it sounds like it's such an important game, especially right now.
Yep.
Especially like always, like there's just such a stigma with mental illness and realizing that there's a person in there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that it's amazing that they're able to do that.
Yeah. The other thing was that this really hit home for me personally because after retiring, my mother actually suffered from a mental breakdown and she was experiencing psychosis. And it's obviously a horrible thing for anyone to have to go through. And, you know, luckily she's doing a lot better now. But just that it's so hard for you to grapple with. It's so hard to imagine. It's so hard to really wrap your head around it. But this does such an amazing job of just explaining it a little for people who just couldn't have known otherwise.
Yeah.
It's
amazing.
Sorry, that was a bit of a lower.
It's like, oh, right.
You don't need to like keep that in either.
No, it's fine. It's just
No, that's amazing. I'm glad you told that. I think it brings like the weight of what the game's trying to accomplish to real life. It's more than just telling a story. It's more than just being a piece of art. It's trying to explain something that so many people just dismiss as you're crazy and you're, just stop acting this way. That's not really happening. It's so easy for people just to not be helpful. And
I love the idea of people who have suffered from this and have got better being able to play this and feel understood and feel appreciated as people. It's just, it's really a reason to be optimistic. And I can't wait for Ninja Theory's next game. I'm just like, what's it going to be? What are they going to do? Can they top this? And hopefully it inspires other developers to take on difficult subjects as well, because the games that can be made out of them with them as a subject are unlike anything else. As Josh mentioned, Celeste as well. It's just let's get more of these. Yeah,
I'm in. Just in time for hopefully they'll be out 2019. We can start buying them.
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah, I'm looking forward to it as well. I mean, so I know Elliot, is a fan of these games that kind of elicit certain emotions, and we've all been playing one recently. So Elliot, how far are you in Cuphead?
Yeah, it definitely elicits emotions from me.
Frustration, rage,
self-doubt.
Have you beaten any enemies in it? Have you beaten any levels?
Yeah, I beat the first, like the carrot boss.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like the super easy one.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm playing the next boss on the world map. I haven't unlocked anything, so I'm there on the map with just like going to the spots that are.
Is that
currently there.
Which one is that? Is that the blob dude in the forest?
So that's the one I can't win.
Oh, okay.
I can't beat right now because when he does the big punch, when he gets really big, there's no way to avoid it. So
can't you duck?
Duck.
You can duck.
Yeah, you can duck.
But the fist takes up
you can duck
the whole.
Duck.
You can still duck.
Yeah.
Where's the hitbox on this thing?
You can duck. You'll realize once you do.
Oh my god! Like I thought of ducking, and then I was looking at the fist.
Yeah,
and
I know. I thought
it goes along the ground.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I guess I should reinstall Cuphead.
So now I'm not going to give you too much shit, Elliot, because I've been playing it on a stream. I've uploaded 3 parts so far, and I'm over 50% of the way through it. But a couple of those have been like an hour long to beat a level or to beat a boss. It is such an infuriating game. And as well, the first chunk of it, I watched Josh beat it 2-player when we were playing it here in my house when he was visiting. So I had such an advantage. I basically knew a lot of the patterns and how to defeat the bosses because I watched him do it before.
Yeah, the first world wasn't that bad for me. The second world, though, there were a couple in there, and I still have one more boss to do in the second world. The dragon, what's his name, Matchstick or something like that.
Damn Dragon Man! I spent an hour of it on a stream, and I had to leave it. I had to just like quit it out because I couldn't beat it.
The other one that was probably the hardest one was the Candy Queen or whatever, the one that's got like the woman at the top of the castle. She just sends like 5 different things at you. That one took a while.
I feel like that one, I needed the bad guys in a certain order because they're random what order they come in, but there was an order that they could come in to make it easier. And then if I had all my HP for fighting her at the end, then I was able to do it.
The roller coaster dude sucked too. Once I finally figured out the first 2 parts, the last part was pretty easy, but yeah. God.
I've only beat the one and I'm stuck on the other one. And I also tried that forest level.
Yeah.
So, but I just die.
Yes.
I just die.
So you were asking us before the cast about if you die to the boss, you have to repeat the level. Those levels have no bosses. You just beat them.
So that was my next question. Yeah. Okay. So you just get to the end and you're good.
Yeah. It's just you're basically going through there to collect the coins so you can buy stuff at the shop. There's 5 coins in each of those levels.
So Elliot, I've got a few tips for you. The first one I would say is go and do the mausoleum ones first.
What's that?
Because
I don't think the mausoleum opens up yet.
Oh, okay. Well, in the second area, you can go straight to it, can't you? Or do you always have to kill something first?
Yeah, you have to kill someone first to get to the second one.
Oh, okay. Maybe I just found it easy to kill the guys on the way there. Well, anyway, once you can get to them where you have to do parries, it's a level where basically all that you do is ghosts are coming at you and you have to parry them. Do those first. Try and find those first because you'll get supers. They'll give you special attacks. Okay. As well, do the run and guns and pick up all the coins and then go buy alternative fire types. Or at least buy the multi-directional short range one.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I found it.
The 8-direction one?
No, it's 3 directions in front of you.
It's a red shot and it's 3 directions, and it's basically for anywhere that you're going to be fighting someone on just a single screen, and you need a powerful shot. And as well, you can be a little like your accuracy doesn't have to be that good because it's like straight ahead and then diagonal up and diagonal down.
Okay,
so it's useful.
I picked up one of the alternate ones that has a multi-spread, and I don't remember if it was...
Is it the green one that's a homing missile?
No.
Is it red?
It's like, it might be 3. I thought it was, I was thinking it was like 8 direction.
The pinky red one.
That's
use
the red.
You swap it up between that and the primary that you have when you start.
Okay.
And then the other thing, I found, I don't know, Josh, do you find the invisible dash?
I haven't used it yet.
I find it really useful if just for certain enemies you can use it and they won't hit you. So it's pretty good.
So how does I was hovering over that for the longest time because I wasn't sure if that was a one-time use thing or if it was like an attribute that from now on your dashes.
Yeah.
So your dash will never.
Every time you dash, you can basically dash through something. Yeah. Now you have to get it just right. Yeah. It's a little forgiven though. And the other one
I've been sticking with the 4 HP one.
Yeah, so that was the other one I was going to suggest as well. I swap between them depending on whether the enemies in the level you can dash through them, or some of them are so awkward that the invisible dash is no use to you. So I go with the extra HP.
Yeah, there's 2 upgrades where you get 1 more heart or 2 more hearts, and you just do less damage or even less damage as a counter.
Right. Yeah. Okay. I remember reading that, and you can only equip 1 at a time.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. And you can. And you can't swap between what's equipped in the middle of a level.
No, only between your gun.
Yeah, whatever guns you have.
You can swap between 2 different guns during a level.
Cool. Yeah, I need to give it another proper shot, I think.
Yeah. Even we can if you're playing it on a stream, we'll give you some ideas as well.
Yeah, I should stream it. Yeah.
What was I going to say? So Josh, I think you have found the same boss as me, the most difficult so far.
I haven't fought him for like an hour yet, but yeah, he's annoying.
I'm not as bad as you, Stevo, but yeah.
I mean, he's giving me some issues. I mean, the first few parts are fine. It's the last part that I just recently started getting to the last part, and I just haven't figured out the pattern yet. So
yeah,
we'll see.
For that one, I used the homing shot, the green one.
I've been using the reverse one because it does so much more damage, and you just aim away from him and it just hits him.
What is the reverse one, the green one?
The green one, I mean, it's green, but the other green one I'm thinking is the homing one.
Yeah, but you're not talking about the homing one. You're talking about the one that fires directly backwards.
No, this one, like it's kind of like a boomerang almost. If you shoot it forward, it goes forward a little bit, but then it aims backward. But then it turns around and just heads behind you.
Okay, I need to pick that one up because that one probably would be good.
It does a lot of damage. It does quite a bit of damage.
Damn.
So
I should have done that one.
But yeah, we'll see. I'll get there.
Yeah. We've got another week left of this.
2 weeks
before we
2
roll.
weeks.
Oh yeah, that's right. We do 2 episodes worth. So yeah, we got 2 more weeks. But next episode, hopefully, we'll be done and rolling for a new one if all goes.
I'm sure at least Josh will be done, and I'll play a few
hopefully
more.
Hopefully one of us is done.
If I can get over 70%, I think I'll be proud with that.
Yeah. Yeah. Shit.
Well.
So what else has been going on in the world of games, lads?
Should we do some 1-sentence news here?
I think we should. Let's give it a go.
Yeah. All right. I I guess I'll start us off. One sentence each for Valkyria Chronicles 1 is being ported to the Nintendo Switch.
We're all going to have the same sentence for this.
Nope. Mine's going to be, that's a perfect match, but I'm not buying it again.
That is a perfect match, and I'm not yet sure if I'm buying it again.
Yeah, that's a perfect match, and I'm not buying it because no new games 2018. So also I have to beat it on Steam, and I'm halfway through it. I don't want to start again.
Yeah, true. I have it on Steam and PS3 and have not started either one, so...
Seriously? Oh man, it's a good game. You're a disgrace.
All right, moving on to Shenmue or Shenmue.
Shenmue
1+2 being remastered.
1 and 2?
For 1 and 2. Both games.
All I know about this game is sailors and forklifts, so I kind of want to know what the fuss is all about.
Yep. All I know, I don't know very much, but I know that it's got a very rabid following, and I'm interested to finally get to play it.
Wow, this is amazing. I assumed one of you would have played it. I was going to ask, would Stevo play this in 2018? But I guess you can't tell me, so that's a no.
You can't buy it. You can't buy it.
You can't buy it anyway. But it is coming out this year, and it'll be $30.
If it's coming to Steam, I have Steam bucks.
Oh,
sure.
Right.
Steam, PS4, Xbox, no word on Switch. But $30 for those two games is a pretty great deal.
Yeah.
Sega Mega Drive / Genesis Mini was announced.
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I don't have an attachment to the old Genesis, so maybe I might pick up the Sega Aegis thing on Switch instead.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of a double one. The Sega Mega Drive Mini and the Sega Aegis Switch games coming out developed by M2. I guess my one sentence after all that is I just bought a Sega Genesis, so...
Have you picked up Streets of Rage 2 yet?
Not in 2018, I haven't.
Good point.
I think for the Mini, I want to wait and see what games are going to be on it.
Yeah, totally. For me, I would be tempted to do it just for Streets of Rage 2, but I would need someone nearby to play it with me, and you two fools move to different parts of the country, so...
Do you think Sega will at least make more of these than Nintendo made of Nintendo classics?
Maybe not. Maybe the way to sell it is by making it... All
right, guys, let's just make 4. Let's see how we go from there.
What's next?
God of War is getting insane reviews. Man. 10 out of 10 game of the year.
Okay,
discussions.
I'm going first on this. This is the toughest test of no new games 2018 so far. I'm so tempted to just say fuck it. Okay, I guess I can't say more sentences. So I want to though.
I've never been invested in God of War before, but this game looks awesome, but I'm okay with waiting.
I have played all the God of Wars and am a huge fan of the series, and can't believe it's getting this kind of press, and I couldn't be more excited to play it. But I can wait. Although I do have 50 PSN bucks, so when it gets low enough, I'll probably buy it.
Nice.
Boss Key, which is Cliff Bleszinski's of Gears of War fame's own studio, has given up working on their Overwatch clone Lawbreakers to focus on their own battle royale game, Radical Heights.
Another one?
Yeah, I just feel bad for them at this point. How do you think you're going to steal players from Fortnite and PUBG like you didn't steal players from Overwatch?
I'm adding a sentence here because they did add stuff to this game, like extra stuff happening in the battlefield, not just 1 versus 100. But yeah.
Okay. I guess all I can say is good luck.
Yeah, I wish them well.
More competition.
I'd like them to do well. I'd like them to carve out a chunk of that market, but I just don't see it.
Yeah.
And Chrono Trigger Steam. Oh, that's not the last one. Chrono Trigger Steam has been patched.
Now fix the iOS version, damn it.
So it's got you can switch between the new look and the classic 16-bit SNES pixel look. Good. Every fucking Square Enix Steam port should have this.
Yeah, mine was now fixed Final Fantasy VI. Damn it.
Yes. God damn it. And last one is the King Kong Billy Mitchell guy who had all the crazy records, and they made the documentary about him. They found out he cheated a while ago, and Guinness has stripped him of not just that record, but all of his video game records.
Damn, they're not monkeying around.
Oh my God.
Couldn't have happened to a nicer lad.
Yep. Seems about the proper response. So.
Anything else going on in the world, lads? Is that us?
I think that's it for right now.
I think that'll wrap us up here. We had a pretty action-packed smorgasbord of content here, guys. If I do say so myself.
Pat myself on my back.
Yeah. So we'll be back in 2 weeks, hopefully done with Cuphead, and we'll be rolling for a new game if all goes as planned.
Oh yeah.
But in the meantime, we have our website up at ratherbecast.com. You can follow us on Twitter. The podcast Twitter is at RBPcast. You can also check us out on our feeds at RBP Stevo, at RBP Josh, at RBP Elliot. We are wherever podcasts are sold, except it's free. Wherever podcasts are found, Stitcher, iTunes, Android, Google. We put all of our podcasts up on YouTube as well. So feel free to check us out there. Give us a like, subscribe, tell your friends. Give us some positive mojo here. We've
been doing a little
Twitch.
bit of extra streaming recently.
Yeah.
On Twitch, twitch.tv/ratherbyplaying has everything up there. And I, Stevo, personally have been streaming quite a bit to twitch.tv/rbpstevo. But everything that we do is going up on the YouTube. On the YouTube channel.
The internet. Yeah.
Up on the YouTube. Look for Rather Be Playing on YouTube, and everything that we stream, we're putting up there as well.
Yep. And if you want to join the discussion, feel free to leave a comment on our website or send us questions to questions@ratherbecast.com, and we'll have a read on the future episode.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for a great listen. Great chat.
Yeah. Thanks everyone. Thanks for listening. We'll catch you in 2 weeks.
Catch you later. Au revoir.
Thanks. Bye-bye.